Welcome to Rev Games Academy, where creativity meets innovation. Today, we're embarking on an exciting journey into the world of 2D game development with Unity. In this video, we'll walk you through the essentials, from sprites and physics to scripting interactive gameplay. Get ready to bring your game ideas to life, step by step, and turn your vision into a reality. Before we jump into the fun stuff, let's make sure Unity is set up correctly. If you're looking at your scene view, check the toolbar at the top. Do you see the 2D button? If it's not active, go ahead and click it. This switches Unity to 2D mode, which is essential for building 2D games. Why does this matter? Well, in 2D mode, Unity uses an orthographic projection. This means your sprites won't be affected by perspective, keeping everything nice and flat, just like a classic 2D game. Now we'll learn how to work with sprites in Unity. First, open Window, Package Manager, then set the drop-down to Unity Registry and search for 2D Sprite. If it's not installed, simply click Install. This will give you access to essential tools like the sprite render for handling 2D sprites in your project. Now that we're in the right mode, let's work with the assets in the project. Click on one of the images in the project panel over on the right in the inspector. Check if the texture type is set to Sprite, 2D, and UI. If it's not, update it to ensure Unity treats the image as a sprite, which is perfect for 2D games. Next, let's bring those sprites into the game world. Click and drag one from the project panel into the scene view or the hierarchy. Boom! Unity automatically creates a game object with a sprite render component. This component is what displays the sprite in your game. Want to move it around? Rotate it, scale it, just use the transform component in the inspector. Now that we're diving into sorting layers, let's streamline the process and ensure everything is properly organized in your Unity scene. I have a simple setup with a background, ball, and paddle. First, select any sprite in your scene, like the background. Once selected, head over to the inspector and locate the sprite render component. Inside this component, you'll find a drop-down labeled Sorting Layer. Click the Add Sorting Layer option, which will open the Tags and Layers settings in your project settings. Here, you can create new sorting layers by clicking the plus button. Add layers named Background, Ball, and Paddle to keep everything organized. Once you've created these layers, go back to your sprite and assign it to the appropriate layer using the drop-down menu in the sprite render. For example, assign your background sprite to the background layer, your ball sprite to the ball layer, and the paddle sprite to the paddle layer. Now, if you need more precise control over the rendering order within the same sorting layer, adjust the order in layer value directly in the sprite render. But a higher number ensures that the object appears on top. For instance, set the background's order in layer to 0, the balls to 1, and the paddles to 2. This way, everything will render in the correct order. Let's make things more exciting by adding physics to your game. This is where the magic happens, and objects start moving and interacting naturally, just like in the real world. We'll be using Rigid Body 2D and Collider 2D components to achieve this. First, let's dive in and select your game object. For this example, let's choose the ball in the hierarchy. Now, in the inspector, click Add Component and search for Rigid Body 2D. Go ahead and add it. This component gives your ball properties like gravity, so once you hit play, you'll notice it will start falling due to gravity. But what if you don't want the ball to fall right now? No worries. In the Rigid Body 2D settings, you can adjust the gravity scale. Try setting it to 0. This will stop the ball from falling. Pretty cool, right? Now let's move on to collisions. You don't want the ball just passing through the ground, right? So let's add some colliders. Select the ball again, and this time click Add Component and choose Circle Collider 2D. This will define the area where the ball can interact with other objects. Now select the ground, click Add Component once more, and add a Box Collider 2D. This gives the ground a flat collision area. After adding the colliders, reset the gravity scale of the ball's rigid body 2D to 1. This allows the ball to fall and react to gravity once it interacts with the ground. Now let's see the magic happen. Hit play and watch as the ball falls off the ground. The physics are working. The ball won't pass through the ground because the colliders are detecting the collision. Want to make the ball bounce? Let's take it up a notch. Create a physics material 2D by right-clicking in the Assets folder and choose Create 2D, Physics Material 2D. Set the bounciness to something like 0.8. Now drag this material into the Circle Collider 2D of the ball. Hit play again, and notice how the ball bounces when it hits the ground. This is the power of physics in Unity. Your game objects now react to forces like gravity and bounce. It's a whole new level of interaction. Try playing around with the settings to see how different values change your gameplay. Now comes the most exciting part, scripting! Let's dive into creating something dynamic and fun. Imagine this. You click on a sprite in your game and it instantly transforms into another image. Sounds cool, right? That's exactly what we're going to achieve with this script. To get started, go to the Assets folder in Unity, right-click and select Create C# Script. Name the script Sprite Changer. Once created, double-click on the script to open it in Visual Studio Code. Now let's bring this idea to life. First, we define a public variable called newSprite to hold the image we want to switch to. Public means you'll be able to assign this in the inspector later. Then we write a method called onMouseDown. This is a built-in Unity method that's called when you click on a game object with this script attached. Inside this method, we get a reference to the sprite render component of the game object. The sprite render is responsible for displaying the sprite. If it's not null, meaning it exists, and if newSprite is not null, the script replaces the current sprite with newSprite. Once the script is ready, save it and go back to Unity. Attach it to a game object with a sprite render component. In the inspector, you'll see the newSprite field. Drag the new image you want to use into this field. Hit play. Click the sprite and watch it change. What's happening here is that Unity detects your mouse click with the onMouseDown method and dynamically updates the sprite using the sprite render component. Thank you for tuning in and being part of this exciting journey into 2D game development. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more content. Let's keep creating amazing games together.